Hey class, welcome back. If you check out the board behind me, we're going to go a little bit through the notes today and what our vocab terms are this week. Our vocabulary terms this week come completely out of chapter 5, which are just the parts of the cell. They compare and contrast plant cells and animal cells. We've been talking about plant cells a lot in terms of the Martian, and we're going to talk a little bit about what all the individual organelles in a cell do. One word I'm taking out of the vocab is prokaryotic. You've already had that now twice. We should all know what a prokaryotic cell is. The word I'm throwing in its place is solstice. That went along with today's brain pop. As you may or may not know, hopefully you remembered from way back in September when we talked about the equinox. This Monday the 21st, is the winter solstice, the first day of winter. It's the shortest day in terms of sunlight. Obviously a day is still 24 hours long, but up here, about 38 degrees north latitude where we hang out, we have only about 8.5, 9 hours of sunlight. So we have the shortest day of the year coming up on December 21st. But hopefully we make the right sacrifices to the correct gods and the sun will come back. So we've got the shortest day on the 21st. It's a big deal, especially for like my brother back east. They always look forward to the shortest day of the year because they know every day after that is getting a little bit longer. So let's jump on in. Solstice is one of our words. Why do we have seasons? Remember, Mars has seasons too. We have seasons, of course, because we're tilted a little bit on our axis. If we didn't have a tilt as we go around the sun, I'm going to use this baseball a couple of times today. If we didn't have a tilt to our axis as we orbit the sun, there would be no seasons on Earth. It would be about the same climate all year long. But if you look at the tilt, the 23.5 degrees, that gives us our seasons. Mars has seasons too. As a matter of fact, if Mark Watney really does survive over the winters in this fictional story we've been following, Mars has some very, very severe winters. Just the summertime in, say, the northern hemisphere on Mars, the warmest temperature it would get in the summertime on Mars would be about the coldest temperature in Antarctica here, and that's their summer. So winter gets even colder. It would be really hard conditions to survive for our fictional astronaut in The Martian. We'll talk a little bit more about The Martian in just a second. First, quick reminder, Wednesday, our online test, the usual thing. Friday will be our vocabulary. Gonna do it a little differently this week. We're gonna use the online test program for that as well. Saves you some writing, and all you have to do is match up the organelle, the vocab term, with its definition. And then finally, our optional extra credit will be out there starting in a day or two. It will carry us over through winter break. It's going to be specifically about vaccinations in the immune system. Goes along really well with what's going on right now with COVID-19 and the rollout of the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines, which you're seeing in the news right now. Okay, we did a tiny bit of a side trip into Isaac Newton. Isaac Newton, because of Newton's 3 laws of motion. If you look at the NGSS, Next Generation Science Standards, they incorporate into middle school a little bit of engineering. Now, we don't do quite as much, especially with the distance learning, in terms of being able to build things in class, but Isaac Newton's 3 laws of motions really set the groundwork for your high school physics. So let's check it out really quickly, and I'm going to use the baseball as the example. First of all, the inertia. I'm going to give you the quick rundown of the 3 laws. Do look for them in the notes. When I use this movie here, The Martian, in 8th grade or in high school when we do a little bit more physics, there's some great examples from the movie. We'll get to those on the next screen about these 3 laws. You can really see them in action. There's a lot of examples, and I'll just pull out 3 for today. So first of all, inertia. Inertia, it's a really good, simple idea, which is if you look at the baseball sitting on the countertop, tilt the camera down, baseball sitting on the countertop here, it's going to sit there all day unless a force acts on it. Or to put it another way, let's say you play baseball and you have a pretty good fastball, and you take this baseball into space and you throw it. And you've got a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. This baseball will be traveling through space in a million years, still relative to you, at 90 miles per hour. Unless some force acts on it, unless it runs into something, as long as there's no friction, or very, very little friction, as long as there's no forces acting on it, basically inertia tells us something's going to keep doing whatever it's doing. In the movie, you can see this with the spacecraft, the Hermes in the movie, traveling between Mars and Earth, and then from Earth back to Mars. Once the ship gets going, it's going to maintain its speed without any additional thrust. If it wants to slow down, wants to speed up, it uses the gravity from the planet that it's headed towards to kind of give it that extra little boost of speed. But in between, it really has no need to fire its rockets to keep going. It's not going to slow down and stop in space. It's just going to keep going. That was the genius of Newton. He said, well, wait a second. If there's nothing to stop an object from moving, what happens if you take away the table, you take away the floor? It's going to keep moving in the absence of friction. Moving on to the other two laws and an example from the movie. Switching the boards here real quick. The movie examples that we saw here, the second law, FMA, force mass acceleration. Again, it gets a little mathy on this one. Holding the speaker here, hopefully so you can hear a little bit better. But let's use the baseball one more time. Let's say you're fielding a ground ball and it's coming to you at 5 miles per hour. It's a very slow ground ball. You're standing there at shortstop, and this is rolling towards you at 5 miles an hour. Everybody in this class could stop a baseball rolling at them at 5 miles per hour. Flip it to first, you get your out at first base. Okay, now let's say you have something else moving towards you at 5 miles an hour. A large steamroller has broken loose and is coming downhill at you at exactly 5 miles an hour. You say, well, I stopped a baseball that was going 5 miles an hour. I'm going to stop that steamroller too. Wouldn't recommend it. If you put your hand up and you try and stop the steamroller, it's still only going the same speed as that baseball was, but it's got much more mass. This relationship here, represented by the equal sign, tells us that it's going to take a lot more force to stop it. Also, in a like way, it's going to take more force to get something going if it has more mass. So force, mass, and acceleration are related there. And then finally, action, reaction. This is the one you hear most often quoted just in everyday conversations. Oh, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. If you look at my really bad picture of a squid right here, you may or may not know that a squid moves by forcing water out one end. If you have a jet engine, it does the same thing. It forces air out the other end, right? That's what's going on here in my really bad picture, but the arrow represents water moving this way, and what happens with the squid? Well, the squid moves that way. In the movie, of course, you've got a rocket ship. You've got thrust always pointed down as a rocket ship takes off. If the thrust is going down, you have the famous scene of a rocket taking off. Where does the rocket go? It goes the opposite direction, up. Action, reaction. If you check out last little examples, there are many examples from the movie. These are the three I was putting on up there. Used them before in 8th grade when we talked a little bit about the physics. I'll get my glasses on here. The first one, first law, the Hermes. The ship, the larger ship where most of the crew is, the crew that's headed back towards Earth. The inertia example here, of course, is once they're headed back towards Earth, you don't have to keep firing the rockets to keep going. They've got inertia to keep them going. Later on in the movie, we haven't gotten to this part yet. And again, we're just using little clips. We're not watching the whole 2.5-hour movie, I think it is. They use the gravity from the Earth to pick up speed and slingshot their way around to head back to Mars. But on the in-between part of the trip between Mars and Earth, they don't have to keep firing those rockets to keep up their speed. So that's a good example of inertia. The second law, force, mass, acceleration. Again, we're not quite there yet, which is why I was asking students to check this out. But on the very last part of the movie that we're going to check out at the end of this week, Thursday or Friday, depending on which class you're in, you'll see Mark Watney launching off of Mars in the MAV, the Mars Ascent Vehicle. As he launches, before he launches, I should say, he takes all the weight that he can, all the extraneous, all the extra weight off this ship that he can, all the supplies and control panels, even the life support systems, because he's just wearing a spacesuit. The point is, less mass means that he can get greater acceleration for the given force of the rockets. So he's trying to reduce the mass to make it easier to push. And then finally, if you check out the very last one, action, reaction, the Hermes coming back for him. Yeah, spoiler alert there, the Hermes does come back for him. As the Hermes comes back towards Mars, it's going too fast to pick him up. They have to find some way to slow down. They don't have the fuel to spare to slow it down that much. What do? They release some air out the front of the ship. The action there, releasing the air, gives it the air pushes one direction. This has the effect of action, reaction, slowing the ship. It slows it by pushing the opposite direction. Action, reaction. So Newton's three laws, really they're the basis of your high school physics when you get to high school, which is just around the corner. Newton's three laws really form the basis of your high school physics class. So check it out. We'll have the notes posted up there at pacificascience.org and also in your Google Classroom. Also, the vocabulary assignment will be going up there today, so do look for that. Have a great day and a great week 16, everybody. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Try to hit the right button. There it goes.